Hello, good morning everyone. So today we are going to continue our discussion related to relational algebra operations. In the last session, we were discussing about Cartesian product. We are going to continue our discussion with respect to Cartesian product, and then we'll be focusing upon the sixth basic relational algebra operation, that is rename, and then we'll be discussing about few additional operations in relational algebra. So let's begin with the Cartesian product. We have gone through the definition of Cartesian product in the last session. Cartesian product is the binary operation, so it requires two operands. So we are having here two relations R and S, right? And we are finding out the Cartesian product of two relations. Sometimes Cartesian product is also known as cross product. And this is the notation how we are denoting this cross product or Cartesian product. So this operation basically allows us to combine information from two relations. And formally, it is defined as a set of tuples of the form TQ such that T belongs to R and Q belongs to S. Right? So we have seen this definition earlier. So simply by using Cartesian product, we are combining two relations R and S, right? So every tuple from R gets paired with every tuple from S. And this is how we are getting a huge relation as the cross product of two relations R and S. We have also mentioned that it is possible that the schema R and S are disjoint, meaning the attributes of both the relations R and S are different. It is possible. Also, it is possible that few of the attributes from relation R and relation S are common. So, capital R and capital S are not disjoint. It may also happen. So, if the schemas R and S are not disjoint, that means if we are having few of the attributes, those are same or common in these relations, then we should consider some kind of renaming mechanism, or we need to devise some naming scheme to avoid the conflicts if the column names are same. So we have gone through these concepts in the last session, and we were about to write one query from our university schema. So the problem is we want to find out the names of all instructors in the physics department together with the course ID of all courses they taught. And I have asked you to come up with the solution. How to write the query in relational algebra to find out the names of all instructors in the physics department together with the course ID of courses they taught. So we want to list out name of the instructor along with the course ID of the course which is taught by that particular instructor. And we want to have the list of such instructors and the courses those belong to physics department. So this is what we want to extract. So let's go to the solution, and I'm going to explain you the thought process. So let's try to come up with the solution now. What is the problem? Find the names of all instructors in the physics department together with the course ID of all courses they taught. So, let us refer to the university schema that we have. So, this is the first step. We are having the university schema with us, and based on this schema, we would like to write the query. We would like to extract some information. So, the very important thing is which tables, which relations from this relational model to be used. So, that is the first decision. So, which relations need to be used? We want name of the instructors. So, name of the instructor is available in this instructor relation. So, we need to use this instructor relation. What next? We want to find out the courses. Those are taught by the instructors in the physics department. So, we want department name also. But in instructor table, we are having name of the instructor as well as department name of that instructor. So, for department name, we are going to make use of the same table instructor. But we want to extract the information about the courses. So, we want to extract course ID, right, of all courses. Those are taught by the instructors in physics department. So, we are having one more relation here, teachers. And what we have stored in this relation? We have stored in this relation the information about the instructor and the course that is taught by that instructor. And also we are having the information like which section of the course is taught by that instructor, in which semester and in which year. But right now we are not bothered about these three attributes. We are interested in only the course ID, and that is available in our teachers relation. So obviously we need to find out, or we have shortlisted now these two relations to be used. Right? Instructor relation and teachers relation. So once we understand which relations are having that data that we want, let us proceed further with these two relations now. Right? So, let's think on the relational algebra operation to be used now, right? And let us see the instances. Those are available for this instructor relation and this teachers relation. So let us assume that we are having these two instances of these two relations. Now, by looking at these two relations, it is possible for us to extract the information manually. And how we are going to think upon what we want? We want to locate the instructors from physics department, and that data is available in my instructor relation. And what we want is, we want to refer to this teachers relation, wherein we are having the information related to the courses they taught, right? So we need to look at the tuples. Those are meant for the instructors belonging to physics department. So we are having here the common attribute, that is instructor ID, right, in both these relations. Right? So we know that this 22222 is the ID of the instructor who belongs to physics department. Also, we know now that this 33456 is the ID of the instructor who belongs to physics department. So we are interested in finding out the tuples in this teachers relation belonging to these two IDs. because these IDs belong to physics department instructors, right? So we need to find out the tuples now in this teachers relation. Those match the ID of the instructor from physics department. So obviously we are having here this ID, that is 22222, right? And let us try to find out whether we are having this ID as well, 33456. Whether that ID is available here in teachers relation. No, we don't, right? And that is why we may come up with only one tuple actually. So only one instructor who is teaching this physics 101 course, and that should be the answer. Okay, so by looking at these two relations manually, we can find it out, because right now we are having very few tuples in these two respective relations, right? But in reality, we are having many more tuples in these relations, and by looking at these relations manually, it may not be possible to come up with the solution in given time. And that is why what we need to do is we need to use some mechanism to extract this data, and we are going to make use of the relational algebra operation. Now, as we are interested in combining the data from these two relations, obviously we need to make use of cross product or Cartesian product of these two relations, right? So let us proceed now with solution 1. I'll be giving you two different solutions for this problem. Okay, so let us first see solution 1. So as I stated, we have shortlisted now the very first operation that we need to make use of, and that is the Cartesian product. And the reason is we want to combine the information from two relations, instructor and teachers, right? So to do that, we are going to have the cross product of instructor and teachers. Okay, and as we are interested in only the department name, that is physics, we will simply use one more relational algebra operation, that is the select operation, with the predicate, that is department name equal to physics. So what ultimately we are getting out of this? In the last session, we have seen the output of instructor cross teachers. So instructor cross teachers will provide us the data such that every pair or every tuple from instructor gets paired with every tuple in teachers. So we have mentioned in the last class that if I am finding out the Cartesian product of instructor and teachers, I'll be having many tuples, and out of those tuples it may happen that few of the tuples are irrelevant, right? So what we are trying to do here is we are trying to have this cross product, and simply we are imposing one constraint. We are imposing one predicate or condition because we are interested in only the instructors, those belong to physics department. So with this cross product, we are having this condition department name equal to physics, and to put this condition we are using select statement. So obviously what we are getting is we are getting the output like this. So what we have in this cross product, we'll be having all the attributes belonging to these two relations. So 4 attributes of instructor and 5 attributes of teachers. So overall in this cross product, we will be having 9 attributes in the relation, output relation. And what next we'll be having? We are pairing every instructor with every tuple of teachers. So every instructor tuple gets paired with every tuple in teachers. we have imposed one condition, that is department name equal to physics, and that is why out of all those tuples in the cross product, we will be getting only the tuples related to department name equal to physics. Right? So as we have seen in our instance of instructor table, we had two instructors from physics department, Einstein and Gold, with these respective instructor IDs. So in this cross product with the condition department name equal to physics, what we are getting is this instructor from physics department, right? So this tuple gets paired with every tuple in teachers. Also, this instructor tuple from physics department gets paired with every tuple in teachers relation. So this is what we are getting as the output, right? Are you getting me?
Yes.
So this is the intermediate output of instructor cross teachers with the predicate department name equal to physics, right? So this is the result of this select operation, select department name equal to physics, instructor cross teachers. Okay, please note here that this select operation is unary operation, and this operation requires only one relation as the operand. Okay, and here what we are using is the cross product. So this cross product is binary operation. So it takes two operands, instructor and teachers, and provides a single relation, say R, as the output. So this select statement or this select operation is unary, which is operating upon this R. That is the outcome of this cross product, right? Single relation, which is the outcome of this instructor cross teachers, right? So first this cross product is being computed, and whatever is this cross product, this condition gets imposed, so that we can come up with only those records out of this cross product those satisfy the condition that department name equal to physics. So that is the first step. Why we are saying that some data is irrelevant here? If we look at this intermediate result, then we find that here instructor ID 22222, whose name is Einstein, department is physics with some salary, right? This tuple is paired with the teachers ID from teachers, that is 10101, and course ID is CS437. So if we look at this particular tuple, we obviously say that this is irrelevant tuple. Why? Because here in instructor we are having this ID 22222, and this gets paired with 10101, right? And with the course ID, some course ID. So actually these two instructor ID and teachers.id are not matching. If the values of the common attributes are same, then and then only we say that it is a relevant tuple. Otherwise, there is no meaning at all to this tuple, because the instructor is from physics department and the course here that we have paired is from CSE department. So there is no connection actually, right? So what is important is in cross product, I am having here very important statement. Please try to understand. Whenever we are having a cross product, it is really very important to match the values of the common attributes from the respective relations. So here the ID is the common attribute. In teachers we are having instructor ID, and in instructor table also we are having instructor ID. So to get the relevant information, what needs to be done is we should add one more predicate. And what that predicate is, we should match the values of the common attributes. And here the common attribute is ID, and that is why we need to match these two attributes, instructor.id and teachers.id. So we should come up with the next refinement in our solution. And what that refinement is, we are writing now. This was the earlier query that we have written, and we have seen whatever is the output for this query. And we found that there are certain irrelevant tuples in this output. And that is why we are now imposing one more predicate with one more select statement. So in this select statement, we are saying that we want to match instructor.id and teachers.id. So the condition is instructor ID should be equal to teachers.id, right? And if we impose this condition on this particular table, then obviously what will happen? We will be getting only those tuples for which both the IDs are same. So here this tuple will be having both these IDs same, right? We are having one more physics instructor, but we do not find any tuple having the same instructor ID here, right? And that is why we say that this particular tuple is the relevant tuple. So out of this second refinement of the statement, we will be getting only the relevant data. Okay, but now in our output, we are having all those 9 attributes, right? We are having all those 9 attributes, and we are not interested in having all those attributes. So what we want to extract name of the instructor along with course ID. So only 2 attributes we are interested in. So once again, we are going to refine our query, and one more outer query we are writing with this project operation. So we are interested in name and course ID. So we are listing only these 2 attributes. And in parenthesis, we are having this earlier query. Here in this parenthesis, we are having this earlier query. So this is how we should think of. So after giving, this is our final query. So after writing this final query, we will be getting the output like this. So name of the instructor in physics department along with the course ID of the course that instructor teaches. Right? So Einstein is the instructor who taught this course Physics 101. That is the only course taught by this instructor, and no other instructor from physics department is teaching any other course. So this would be our output.
No, ma'am.
Fine. So let's proceed with another solution. So this is solution number 1, as I stated. But not necessarily we are having this only one solution. We may come up with many such solutions for the same problem. Okay. Now, in the second solution, what we are going to do is, here what we did, we have computed the cross product of instructor and teachers, and then we imposed the condition department name equal to physics, right? So while computing this cross product, we are having the output that contains the number of tuples equal to the product of number of tuples from instructor table and number of tuples from teacher's table. Say for example, if I am having N1 instructors and if I am having N2 number of entries in teachers relation, how many tuples I'll be having overall? How many tuples I'll be having? We have seen this in the last session. How many tuples I'll have in this cross product?
M into N.
M into N or N1 into N2 here. Right? Now, let us assume that we are having in instructor table 12 instructors and we are having in teachers table 15 entries. Correct? No? So, how many tuples we will have in this cross product? Yes?
180.
How
180.
many? 180. 180 tuples we will have in this cross product. Right? And on this relation with 180 tuples, we are imposing this condition department name equal to physics. Right? So, if I am having 2 instructors in physics department, then I'll be able to filter out those tuples. Okay? Now, instead of writing this query like taking the cross product first and then imposing the condition, in an alternative way, what we can do is we can first extract the instructors from physics department and then we can have the cross product of that relation with teachers. So what will happen in that situation? First of all, I will extract the instructors, those belong to physics department. In our instance, we are having only 2 such instructors. So we will have in the first relation, we will have only 2 tuples because there are 2 instructors, those belong to physics department. And then we may have the cross product with teachers. So teachers is having 15 tuples and in the first relation that we have obtained, we are having only 2 tuples. Those belong to physics department. So overall in this product now, in this cross product now, how many tuples I will be having? Only 2 into 15, that is 30 tuples against 180 tuples in the earlier case. Right? So it is better to manipulate 30 tuples than 180 tuples. If we look at the efficiency, are you getting me? Yes?
Yes.
Right? So we may write the same solution or the solution for the same problem like this also. So instead of initially having the cross product of instructor and teachers, what we are going to do is, first of all, we are making use of this select statement, right, to extract the tuples from instructor relation, those belong to physics department. And then whatever may be this relation, I'll be having a cross product with teachers. So this relation, this thing will provide me 2 tuples in the relation and then I'll be having a cross product with a relation having the 15 tuples in it. Right? So ultimately, I'll be getting only 30 tuples to manipulate. Is that correct? So instead of having the cross product first of instructor and teachers, I am going to minimize, right, this pairing. How? First, I'll be extracting the instructors from department name equal to physics and then I'll be having the cross product with teachers. What next? The next thing is the same. Once again, whatever is the output that I'm getting out of this, I'm having few irrelevant tuples. So I want to discard those irrelevant tuples, and I want to get only the relevant data. And that is why with this cross product, what I need is I need to once again match instructor ID equal to teachers.id. Right? Instructor.id equal to teachers.id. So I'll be getting only the relevant data. And what next? I'm not interested in all the columns, only name and course ID. Interested in, so I'll be making use of only these two attributes in my project state, right? And once again, whatever I am getting is the same, that of the earlier solution. So here only the difference is in this first step. Correct? So this is also possible. So the way how we write the query may be different. Are you getting me? Yes? Are you getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Fine.
ma'am.
One may possible way to write this query is, instead of having two separate and in parenthesis I'll be having instructor cross teachers. Right? So that is one more way of writing this query. So I hope you must have understood how to make use of this cross product or the Cartesian product, and how we can use few other operations also to come up with the solution. Correct? May I proceed? Yes? May I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So let us go to
Yes, ma'am.
the last operation now. Let us go to the last operation in basic operation in relational algebra, and that is the rename operation. So rename operation, as the name suggests, it allows us to name and therefore to refer to the result of relational algebra expressions. So what we mean by that? See, as we have seen earlier, many times we need to make use of various relational algebra operations, right? And we are having some intermediate result of one relational algebra operation, and that result we need to use, right, for other relational algebra operation, which is the outer relational algebra operation, you may say. Right? So whichever are these temporary relations, those we are creating. Sometimes we may need to rename these relations, intermediate relations, right? So as to refer to these intermediate relations with some name. Okay? And this can be done with the operation that is known as rename operation. Sometimes it may happen that we need to use the same relation twice. Sometimes it may happen that we need to use the same relation more than once. If this is the case, it is not possible in an ordinary way to use two relations with same name. So what we need to do is we need to rename one of the relations, and then it is possible for us to use these two relations which are actually the same, but we are having two different names now for these two relations. So this is one more need why we need to use this rename operation. Now the notation for this rename operation is like this. This is Greek letter rho. Okay, so this is the rename operation. So we are renaming this expression E, and the new name that we are providing to result of this expression E is X. Okay, so this rename operation gives us the result of expression E with name X, new name X. So what is this E? E may be any relational algebra expression. This E may be any relational algebra expression. Okay, and whatever is the result of this expression, that relation is being renamed with this name X. Right? Now, if my relational algebra expression E is having the arity N, that means if this relational algebra expression E is giving me a relation with N attributes, then it is possible for us to rename those attributes as well. So this expression E is renamed as X, right? So result of this expression E is renamed as X with the attributes renamed as A1, A2 up to AN. So this expression E is giving me some relation. So whatever may be the output of this E, that is a relation. So that relation gets renamed as X, and whatever are the attributes of that relation, those are renamed as A1, A2 up to AN. Right? So this is the formal definition of rename operation. Now let us try to see one example. So once again we are referring to our university schema, and what we want is, we want to find out the highest salary in the university. What we want? We want to find out the highest salary in university. So refer to your schema now and please tell me which table or which relation from the schema that we need to use. Highest salary of the instructor. What we want? We want to find out the highest salary of the instructor in the university. So which table we should use? Yes? Instructor table, because salary is the attribute in instructor table. Okay, now we know several relational algebra operations, and by making use of those operations now, we would like to find out the highest salary of the instructor in the university. So how to do that? In our instructor table, we are having 4 attributes: instructor ID, name of the instructor, salary of the instructor, and department name of the instructor. These are the 4 attributes. And what we want is, we want to find out the highest salary. Correct? We want to find out the highest salary. So let me illustrate this, how we actually think of and how to frame our thinking in the relational algebra expression. Okay, so if I'm having, say, we are interested in only the attribute salary, so let us assume only the salary attribute of instructor table. Okay, so suppose we are having the first instructor with the salary, say 65,000. Okay, second instructor, say salary is 80,000. Third instructor, say salary is 50,000. Then we are having the fourth instructor, say salary is 40,000. and so on. Right? So if these are the salaries, those are provided, then what we want is we want to find out the highest number, highest salary out of these salaries. So if I apply my brain to find out the maximum, what I need to do is I'll be comparing these salaries. Na? First salary will be compared with second, right? I'll pick something, I'll compare then the next and so on. So this is how the manual process is. I need to compare the salary values and I should come up with some maximum. But now if we look at the relational algebra operations, it is not possible for us to compute or to compare the value from one tuple and with the value of second tuple. It is not possible for us to compare value of first tuple and value of the attribute of the second tuple. It is not possible. We can compare the attribute values if these values lie in the same row. If these values lie on the same tuple. So if I am having something like 65 as one attribute and say 80 as other attribute, then it is possible for me to compare these two values because they lie in the same tuple, right? But if I am having these two tuples, then it is not possible for me to compare these values. Those belong to two separate tuples. So ultimately, what I need to do is I need to somehow compare the salary values. Those are in the single tuple, and that is why I need to use this instructor table more than once so that I can have these salary values more than once, right? So here I need to make use of instructor table more than once, and if I am using this instructor table more than once, then what I need is I need to refer to one instance of the instructor table with some other name. So I need to make use of this rename operation. Okay. Now, this task, if I want to write the query for this task, what I'll do is I will split this task in two parts. What I will do is I will compute first a temporary relation consisting of those salaries that are not the largest. I'll repeat. I'm going to compute a temporary relation consisting of the salaries those are not largest. Okay, so I'll be getting one column salaries. Those are not largest. So the largest salary will not be included in the result of this first step. And what I will do in second step is I will make use of set difference operator, set difference operation, right? Such that I will have all the salaries of the instructor and I will have the salaries those are not largest computed from this first step. And if I try to have the set difference of these two, it is possible for me to get the highest salary. So this is the thought process. So let me illustrate this with one simple example. So let me how we are going to write this query. So let me share the other screen now. So I'm going to give you the solution for this. What we want to find out the highest salary in the university. And as I stated, we are going to make use of instructor table twice. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm having instructor table first instance, right? So see here, I'm having instructor table And I'm having one more time instructor table, but this time we are renaming this instructor table with D. Okay, so I'm having instructor table and I'm having once again the instructor table renamed as D. Right? So what are the attributes of my instructor table? I'm having ID of the instructor, name, and salary. And here, this is once again the instructor table that is renamed as D. So once again, I'll be having the same 4 attributes for D. Okay, now let us assume that in our instructor table we are having simply 3 entries. Okay, for simplicity I am giving you one instance of this instructor table. So suppose A, B and C are names of the instructors and department name is suppose CSE, say IT and mechanical, and salary is suppose 60,000. Yes. So what we have here, we are having instructor table with 3 tuples, right? And we are having one more time the instance of instructor renamed as D, right? So once again we are having 3 tuples in that. Okay, are you getting me now? Yes,
ma'am.
okay. Now what we want to
Yes,
do is,
ma'am.
yes, so what we want to do is we want to compute. What we want to compute? We want to compute the cross product of instructor with itself. So we want to compute this cross product, instructor cross instructor, right? This cross product. So we want to find out the Cartesian product of this instructor and this D. So what will be the output and how many attributes I will be having in this cross product? I will have all these attributes, right? And I will have these attributes from D. So I am having here, say, all attributes. So instructor.id, instructor.name, instructor.department name, and we'll be having instructor.salary. Okay, and similarly we are having these 4 attributes also in the cross product for relation D. So D.id, D.name, D.department name, and D.salary. 4 and 4, 8 attributes we will be having in this cross product. Okay, now let us see what we will be having in this cross product. How many tuples we will have? Yes, how many tuples we will have in this cross product?
9.
9 tuples. 9 tuples, 3 from instructor and 3 from D. So 3 into 3, 9 tuples we will have. Okay, so how we are going to populate now this cross product? So this first tuple from instructor gets paired with every tuple in D. Is that correct? then second tuple from instructor gets paired with all the tuples from D. And here this third tuple will also get paired with all the tuples from D. Correct? Are you getting me? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So now we are having these 9 tuples in our cross product. Okay? Now, as you can see now, we are having 2 columns, 2 salary columns. And we are having these 2 salary values in a single tuple, and that is why we can compare now these values. Okay? Now, what we want to do is, we want to compute a temporary relation consisting of those salaries that are not the largest. Okay? So, what we are going to do next is, for this cross product now, we are going to impose the condition that instructor.salary is less than D.salary. So, instructor.salary is this column and D.salary is this column. So, we are going to compare these two values and we are going to extract only those tuples out of this relation. Those will satisfy this condition. Okay. Now, let us see one by one. Let us see this first tuple in this relation. Whether instructor.salary is less than D.salary. Yes or no? Instructor.salary is less than D.salary? No. So we are not going to consider this tuple. Sorry. Yes, we are not going to consider this tuple. If it is less, then only we are going to get that. Now, if we look at this second tuple, whether instructor.salary, that is 60,000, is less than D.salary.
Yes.
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 So we are going to select that. Okay. Now for this tuple, we are once again checking whether instructor.salary is less than D.salary. Yes.
Yes.
Once again,
Yes.
true. So we are going to select that. So this is how we are going to select all the tuples. So for this tuple, 80,000 is not less than, so we are not going to consider this tuple. We are not going to consider this tuple also. Whether this tuple needs to be considered, 80,000 is less than
Yes.
90,000. Yes. So we are going to consider that. Then what about this 90,000, 60,000? No. 90,000, 80,000? No. 90,000 is less than 90,000? No. So ultimately, what we will be having now, see here, we are proceeding step by step so that you can understand what we are trying to do. So, output of this query now. Output of this cross product is this, and we are imposing this condition, instructor.salary is less than D.salary. Right? So, after imposing this condition, what we will be having in our relation is there's 3 tuples we will be having. Do you agree with me? Yes? Do you agree with me? We are having now 3 tuples in this output. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Now, what next we are trying to do is, we are not interested in all the attributes, but sorry, we are interested in only the salary of the instructor. Right? So, we need to extract only this. So, we are making use of this projection. Okay? And we are now having this statement, project statement. So out of this, we are extracting only this instructor salary. column instructor salary. Okay, so let me add the title as well that I forgot to add earlier. So these are the attributes, those we are having. Okay, and we are interested in only this instructor salary. So out of this, we are going to extract only this column. Correct? So what we have in the output, we are having two values, 60,000 and 80,000. Right? So whether we have come up with the solution of the first step, compute first a temporary relation consisting of those salaries that are not the largest. So by executing this statement, what we are getting is the salaries, those are not largest. Right? Those are not largest. What is the largest salary here? 90,000, and that is the expected answer. Right? So to come up with that, we have worked with this first task, and we are now getting the salaries, those are not largest. Okay, now what we are going to do in the next step. So we have done with this statement, first part, we have got the salary values, and simply what we are going to do next is we will be having the set difference of this entire statement, output of this entire statement, and the salary column of the instructor. So what is output of this? Yes, what is output of this? Projection salary from instructor will be having only this column as the output. Correct? Do you agree with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what we have is we are having projection salary from instructor, this output, and what is the output of this statement that we have already computed? Correct, no? We have already computed that output. That output is this, and we are now having the set difference. We are having the set difference. So this is our first relation, this is our second relation, and we want to have the set difference. So we have seen this set difference earlier. What would be the output now? The final output that I'll be getting. The tuples, those are present in first relation, but those are not present in second relation. So 60,000, whether it is present in second relation? Yes, it is.
90,000.
Yes, so which is the tuple that is not there in the second relation? 90,000. So ultimately what we are getting is, as the output 90,000. And whether this is the maximum salary of the instructor that we have in this table? Yes? Is this the maximum salary that we have?
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Yes.
after undergoing these steps, it is possible to find out the maximum salary that we have. Correct? Any doubt? Yes, any doubt?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, instructor in second column. Why we are not considering 90,000 last 3C?
Last,
3C.
this one. This tuple.
Yes. Yes.
What is our
Yes,
condition?
ma'am.
What is our condition? Instructor dot salary should be less than D dot salary. That is our predicate. Here both are 90,000. So 90,000 is, whether it is less than 90,000, no, they are same, na, equal.
Yes, ma'am.
So this tuple will not be included in our result. So which values will be included in our result? Only those values, those are not largest. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Any doubt? Any more doubts? So this example, in fact, why I have illustrated this example in detail, step by step, because in this way only it is possible for us to develop the logic, how we think, right? And it is really very important to develop the logic, correct, to come up with the solutions. Not necessarily this is only the problem. You may have any kind of problem, okay, but we need to step by step work on. We may need to split the task, right? We may need to develop the logic, and we should come up with the solution. Okay, so I hope you must have understood what we have done, how just we thought of. I don't say that this is the only solution, right? We may have different solutions as well. Okay, but this is one solution that we may come up with, and this solution I have demonstrated typically to illustrate this rename operation. So here the same relation is being used twice, and that is why one instance of the instructor relation need to be renamed. Then only we can use that. Okay. So this is one way to find out this maximum salary. As I mentioned, this is not the only way. Okay, we are having some advanced functionalities in relational algebra. Those will directly give us the maximum value. We are having that functionality available, right? But if you are asked to make use of only basic relational algebra operations, then we should develop a strategy, we should develop a method that will provide us the solution. Okay, I hope you must have understood. If you have any doubts, please let me know. Otherwise, we are going to conclude the session by summarizing the formal definition of relational algebra. May I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me proceed now. So I hope you must have understood how to find out the highest salary in the university. Okay, and this is the final statement that we are having that will give us the maximum salary. Okay, so let me proceed with a final formal definition summarizing all the relational algebra operations those we have studied so far. Okay, so a basic expression in relational algebra in fact consists of various sub-expressions. Okay, and a basic expression in the relational algebra consists of either a relation in the database or a constant relation. So while writing the relational algebra queries or relational algebra expressions, we are making use of either a relation in the database or we may have a constant relation. So what we mean by a constant relation? Let me explain. Relation in the database meaning if I am having university database, then I am having a relation instructor that is defined in my database. So while writing relational algebra expression, I may use directly the relation that is available in the database, or I may use a constant relation. So the constant relation means if I am having this, if I want to define some relation that is not there in my database, okay, then I may write a constant relation in this set form. So in the braces, what I can write is, I can write a tuple, constant tuple, having some value. Say for example, if the constant relation is having ID, so 1 is the ID, say name is A, then department name is say CSC. So by directly providing the values of the attributes, those are required, right? And say salary 65,000. So this is one tuple of my constant relation. So in constant relation, we are directly providing the values for the attributes and we are creating a relation. That's all. Okay. So while writing a relational algebra expression, we either have a relation in the database or we may have a constant relation. Okay, and as I stated, in our relational algebra expression, we may have several sub-expressions. So let us assume that E1 and E2 are the relational algebra expressions. Then the following relational algebra expressions are valid. So E1 is one sub-expression, E2 is another sub-expression in relational algebra. Then we may have E1 union E2. We may have E1 set difference E2. We may have E1 Cartesian product with E2. We may have the select operation on E1 or E2, right, with some predicate P. We may have the project operation with E1 or E2 with S, that is the list of attributes. We may have the rename operation denoted as row for this sub-expression E1. So output of this E1 is renamed as X. So X is the new name for the result of this expression E1. So if E1, E2 are the relational algebra expressions, then all these basic relational algebra operations are valid with these E1 and E2. Right? And what are those E1 and E2? E1 and E2 may be a relation in the database or a constant relation, or by making use of these relations, we may write a relational algebra expression that is giving us one relation. Okay, so this is the formal definition of whatever we have studied so far about the relational algebra. Okay, next time we are going to deal with few additional relational algebra operations other than these basic operations. Okay, basic operations are 6 operations. What are those? Select, project, union, set difference, Cartesian product, and rename. These are 6 basic relational algebra operations. We are having few more additional operations. Those we are going to discuss in the next session. Right? So let's conclude today's session. Thank you.